And I can mess up
It's off the
easily.
cuff, so. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay. So tell me when you started practicing medicine in Las Vegas.
Well, I came here from Chicago after I finished the orthopedic residency, and Lucia was pregnant with the 10th child, and she said, we have to go somewhere warm. So I was actually going to Palm Springs, but a guy named Scully, who was in with Harrison Zivit, flew back to the Shriners Hospital and enticed my wife, because she was from New Orleans and so was Lucia, with this twang. And so we ended up coming out here trying it. And that was it, because she was still, I came out here in May of '69. She came out probably, Missy was born the 30th of July of that year, and she came out right after. She sold the house, wrapped up, and flew out and came out here.
So how many kids do you have?
10.
10 kids. Wow. Well, hats off to you for that.
No,
I can't even.
not me.
I can't even imagine.
Not me.
It's not you, your wife. So what was it like when you, in '69, I'm sure it was a far different scene from what it is today. Tell me what the medical community was like back then.
Oh my God, it was a Damon Runyon society then. I mean, I think we may have had 7 orthopedic guys, probably. Medical community was, you know, it wasn't quite as sophisticated as today. A lot of people took off for California, or, you know, at that time. You know, we had the old folks, as old, not as old as I am, but they smoked in the doctor's lounge, and cigars, and fought in the lounge. It was goofy. And at that time, there were 2 major hospitals, UMC and Sunrise, and I used both of them. The other 2 hospitals were just transitioning from nursing homes, such as, Desert Springs and Valley.
So
that,
not a lot of choices, it sounds like.
no, not really, but a lot of trauma. Of course, the town, I don't even know how big it was, 140,000, not big. We came here and just chose it because it got us out of west anyway, and it was very enjoyable for me, because I was immediately busy, and big time. And all the guys didn't want to take trauma calls, so I could be on call 30 straight nights. My wife liked it so much that she cried for 2 years when she came here. We grew up in Madison, Wisconsin, although she is from New Orleans originally. We went to high school together.
Oh, that's
But after that, we really settled in, and we love it. 8 of our 10 kids live here. How can we not?
right. So you kept, not only did you have 10 kids, but you kept 80% of them here. That's impressive too.
Oh, it is. I mean, they all went away to school, but we wouldn't let them stay around because it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
Our house wasn't quite big enough. But we just been blessed. I wouldn't trade the town for anything.
So when you hear people say, as they sometimes do, the best way to get good care in Las Vegas is at McCarran, and that's a saying. I mean,
I know, I understand.
I'm sure you've heard. What would you say to people who say that?
Well, I think they don't know anything. Now, let's be honest with you. There are some types of rare cancers and stuff like this, that place like St. Jude's for children and LA Children's and that. Certainly that's when they handle that all the time. I understand that. But general surgeries, general stuff, I tell you, we got some talented people here. I wouldn't go out of Las Vegas, for a certain kind of cancer and this stuff that treats them, probably, but, they're really talented people here. I mean, they have, like I said, they probably had 7 or 8 orthopedic guys, and I'll bet you $1 they got 150.
So it's increased rapidly then.
Well, over time it has. It certainly has. I think the end of the paved highway was Decatur, so it wasn't far. But again, it was a very easy community. You knew everybody. I mean, it was, I liked it a lot better because you knew everybody. now, I mean, I went to an orthopedic meeting Friday night, and I didn't know a lot of the young guys that are here. I started out with a guy named Scully, God bless him, and we got a group together that's huge now called Desert Orthopedics. You know, myself and him and a dear friend of mine, John Payne and Chet Esky, and we got it together, and so it was ours, theirs, and everybody, and that started. It's big now, Desert Orthopedics. But
I've heard of it.
no, it is, but you know, guys got in fights in doctors' lounges, smoked cigars. I mean, I would say, whoa, this is goofy. You know, I mean, it really was. There was things like Cook County, but there was, believe it or not, pus wars, you know, just set aside for the infections. And matter of fact, I stole a nurse there for 25 years that worked for me, but she was in a pus war. Fortunately, she was very smart and wrote orders, you know, for those guys. Because I don't know where some of them trained, but, you know, as they say, it was a different battleground effect. These kids today are brilliant. I mean, these kids, to get in, it just speaking from orthopedic, it's tough to get a residency. Tough to get a good residency in anything. I was in family medicine for a while, and then I went into orthopedics. But you know, I had no idea to become a doctor when I was a kid, not at all.
And I heard that you made house calls. Is that true?
Oh, I did.
Talk to me
Yeah,
about
I'll
that.
say, I was in a little area, Des Plaines, Mount Prospect, which are northwest communities of Chicago. They're very nice. I mean, they're older. Oh yeah, yeah. That was $7 a call, and you go out to Schaumburg and all these are the areas out there. Every house looks the same. You know, I didn't know how I found. I charged $7. I probably got paid in about 30%. You know, I said, well, we don't have any money. You know, I'm looking for the house, and they all look the same. You know, nothing. I did. I probably averaged. I figured when I got done, I was averaging 22 house calls a week. That's a lot.
And what about in Las Vegas? Did you make any house calls?
Well, you know, if you really think about it, a house call to go home, I'm not saying for some chronic disease or something, but if a guy has chest pain, you say, I'll meet you at the emergency room. It's stupid to not, you know, not see him there for the facilities they need. You know, it's so much advanced. What am I going to do with a guy with chest pain? I can take EKG, but just send him to the emergency room. But it was, you know, it was fine, and I had a huge practice of general practice, and I delivered children, and I didn't do any of the surgeries that they did. I sent those out, but I delivered a number of hundred of children. In a county, they used to deliver 2,500 a month, Cook County in Chicago. So you got your hands wet. If you didn't like it, you didn't have to do it, but it was fun.
So.
But you know, great training program I had from Madison, and we went to Chicago. I started out at Notre Dame and didn't like it at all. My father, Irish Catholic, went to the 2nd grade, so when I got a chance to go there, you know, he cried and had 10 cigarettes and 5 beers, and I went there. I never saw the place, never saw it. I wanted to be a Marine pilot. Anyway, I ended up a private in the Army.
Did you? So you were in the military too?
As an enlisted man.
Wow.
Yeah, they said, why didn't you go to OCS? I said, okay, till I saw what I was going to do for 4 years of polished guns.
So here you are. You're how old, if you don't mind my asking?
No, not
how
at all.
old?
Not at all. I'm 79.
79. You look great. And you're still practicing. Talk to me
Well,
about that.
Well, yeah, but that really is a save my wife's and our relationship. And number 2, I'd go nuts staying home. I mean, now again, I don't do the stuff I used to do. I used to just, you know, do a ton. But no, I'm in the office 2 days a week, you know, and it's to stay active. And my crowd of people I take care of athletes, but I bet I take care of people 35 and older more often than not, which is great because I could recognize songs that they're singing. And I can recognize the kids because they stranglehold their phones. I recognize like mother, daughter, and grandma last week, Thursday, were all grabbing their phones. But it's a different society than it was before. I mean, we knew everybody. I mean, it was, big, good. You couldn't go, and I didn't take advantage of it, but you could not go and not treat somebody and go to one of the casinos and get everything paid for, just comped you. Now you got to be $1 million roller to get a soda. But it was just pure fun. And as I say, I was so busy, and then, Lucia thought after the residency in medical school, which I worked full time, she'd see me, but for 2 years I didn't see me. She just cried like crazy. Then she got used to it, and she wouldn't go anywhere else.
So now it took a couple of years, but she likes it. And
Oh, I mean, we're fortunate. We have our kids include us in everything, and they're my best friends. I don't go out. I mean, truly, we were invited for brunch yesterday, and who cooked? Terry's a heck of a cook. And then went over to Kevin's house for supper last night. He murders everything. He reminds me of my mother. He's not the greatest cook, but he's very kind. But we do. I'm going tonight after this. One of my grandsons is playing soccer for the state tournament. But it's fun. And taking care of the university has been just a kick. I really backed off the last 4 or 5 years, but I used to go all the time. Travel. I went to 4 Final Fours, won one, one
so
national.
which teams?
All of them. Basically, I did not travel baseball, football and basketball. Yeah, I didn't really travel the girls, but football and basketball.
Be on the field and help them if something.
Well, yeah, it was fun. Now they have a young general practice doctor that's there all the time, which takes a lot, so you don't have to do as much. But they run their budgets, and like you see in the paper, our city is in tough shape with the university budgets. We spend about, I don't know, $8 million on football. Nebraska, $144 million. Or Ohio State. Yeah. But I mean, I do love it here. I mean, I love growing up in Madison, Wisconsin. It's a great town. But the weather, you got to kid me. And you said we're in St. Louis?
St. Louis. Well,
It's
I'm from
awful
Ohio
humid there.
originally, So I went to school in Chicago, so I understand.
Oh, did you? Yeah. Yeah, we lived in, Chicago, great town.
It is
I
a
mean,
great town.
compared to New
Very cold though.
Well, I lived in a medical fraternity while Lucia was still, she's a dental hygienist and was working in Madison. And I was right on, it was 6000 North on Sheridan Road, which is just, it was cold. You kept going and you're up in, you're up with Northwestern. Yeah,
That's
it
where
was.
I went.
I anticipated.
I know that.
The journalism and stuff, it's a great school.
Thank you.
You and
Well,
Charleston Heston.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he and I were not there at the same time.
No, I can
right?
imagine, no, I can imagine that,
But no, I did know he went there, so.
Yeah.
Well,
No.
that's really interesting that all the changes that you've seen over the years and.
Oh, it's been great. But, I mean, the camaraderie before, we had parties like, especially Sunrise. They put a party, and, I don't go to parties, but Christmas party, because you knew everybody. And it was very nice. Now, you don't know anybody. It's a different practice. It's very interesting because I do my work in the hospital, or outpatient, or in the hospital. But now you have a different practice of medicine. You have doctors that you haven't seen that are hospitalists. Not that they're not good, but here you don't know them at all. And if you've got XYZ insurance, you got to go with their doctor. It's a little goofy, but it's the way it is. Everybody tells us what to do.
Did you like it more the way it was or the way it is?
Well, actually, I liked the way it was. It was kind of neat. It gets a little. It was more. Terry's got a good practice, and he got fun to get to know him. And I do the same. I have people coming back all the time. When you get my age, you just want to talk to somebody, So if you get a little dementia like I do, it's interesting because you can talk about the same thing every time they come. But no, it really is. It's fun. It was fun, and it really was. My office has never been. Oh, we used to see a lot of patients, but took time with everybody. It's so different. Now everything. insurances, you gotta get permission, and goes on, and you gotta have about 8 people to get permission to do anything, you know, an MRI or any type of study. I mean, it's ridiculous.
And back then, $7 for a house call, that seems like a deal.
Well, a deal's a deal, yeah, well, it was, and then the thing, I probably got paid on 20% of it. And then, but they, you know, if you come to the office, it was $5, and I had all these drugs that they can't give you now, not narcotics, but all the antibiotics, so I could give, you know, all the stuff. $125 for delivery. Yeah, that was, I think they're about 4,000 now, but, you know.
Those were the days, huh?
Well, they were fun. They were fun. And it, you know, I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I got some kind of business that I love what I do. I mean, I really do. It's fun. The surgeries I do are usually constructive. I mean, there's trauma, but not cancers or anything like that. I get too attached. I wouldn't want that at all. I mean, that wouldn't appeal to me, let's put it that way. And a handful of specialists. So this was, like you said, McCarran was the way to go. It's when you walked out to the airplane. But it was, and so everybody said, well, we're going to LA or Scripps or Mayo Clinic back in Rochester. But I mean, I think that's not based on much. There's an awful lot of talent, awful lot of talent.
Excellent, thank you. That was perfect. You were great. Thank you. That's it.